Live.
Live, live and
Oh,
direct.
oh my gosh. So, um, yeah, let's do this first. Michael,
Yes, hi.
I don't know
Hello.
what happened, but we were having a lot of tech issues. And if you guys are still out there from wow.
We were having all the tech issues, not some of them, all of them. They were all happening all at once.
Yeah. Coach, can you straighten up your face so we can get you on here? Because this is going to be a three-seated party because this is short. Um, Michael, are you okay with going straight into
Man.
sports?
Oh, sure. Why not?
I know.
Okay.
Okay. And there's Coach.
Hey.
Right. Over them White Sox tonight.
Somebody has to. I mean, I think they felt like that once they were triumphant in New York, that was the end of the season.
Yeah,
It
because
is
they
not
jumped on
though.
they jumped on the train and took the train to Boston, and they getting snapped right now, 10-zip in the fourth, Mike.
I know. I mean, you talk about somebody getting sent to Boston. This reminds me of a bad Spades game. I mean,
Yeah, right, right, right.
Boston is literally running a Boston on my
They,
White Sox
they
right
running
now.
to Boston, and they got both the Jokers, the Ace, and the Wild Dukes.
Oh yes, they got it all. They got all the cards. Coach. So speaking of our Chicago White Sox, there's a little bit of controversy over the last several days in their time against the Yankees. Don't know if you caught that, but one of the best players, one of the future of Major League Baseball, a man by the name of Tim Anderson for the White Sox, TA7, got into a dust up with I would describe him as baseball's new goon. Just like hockey has goons, I think this guy is a goon.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
And I'm so happy that the outcome was the way it was. Coach, you know what we're talking about, right? We're talking about Tim Anderson and Josh Donaldson. Josh
hey man,
Donaldson now of the
all,
Yankees.
all I can say, all I can say is Mike. Hey man,
Yeah.
you remind me of Jackie Robinson.
Now, from you, coach, I know what that means. I take that as a compliment, although I still know that I am not worthy to be compared to Jackie Robinson. Same way
Correct.
that TA knows that he is not worthy at this point to be compared to Jackie Robinson. Yes, he is an African American in baseball. Yes, Tim Anderson is that. But he certainly didn't have to endure all of the pain and the struggle that Jackie Robinson had to do being the person who broke the color barrier in Major League Baseball, the taunting, the cheers, the jeers, the hatred, the letters, just all of that, all on this one magnificent human being who was able to endure and prosper in that way. And Tim Anderson knows what it means to be what Jackie Robinson went through. That's why he knew that when Josh Donaldson said it, it was sarcastic, it was an insult, and despite what Stephen A. Smith says in his little pea brain head, he knew that it was meant to be a racist remark.
Correct.
What are your thoughts, Coach?
Well, first of all, I don't even really jump on what Stephen A. Smith says sometimes. That's why he and Durant and these boys go back and forth. And like you said, the question I'm gonna put out to the guys that's out there, and even the ones that are gonna watch this, Mr. Springer put out there, is if you are sitting in that dugout and that's your teammate that says that, what are your feelings as a teammate? Are you on his side, supporting him, or are you looking at him sideways like, "Oh," right? Because you put it on the head, Mike. Anderson, no, that was after Anderson blasted him for a home run, right? Killed him. I mean, he put up the numbers on him. But the crazy part about it is, it's kind of like the silent N word, right? It's kind of like, shh. But you know something, Mike? I'm gonna give you the best comparison. And the young guys who watch this, they probably won't get it. But I know you and Val will, because it came out the time you guys came out. Remember the pizza scene in Do the Right Thing?
Oh,
When
yes.
Spike Lee asked my man, he said, hold on, how you don't like black people? He says, who's your favorite black singer? He's like, Prince. He's like,
Yeah.
he's black. No, he's not. Yes, he is. He's like, no, he's not. He's Prince. You know, like, no, I got it. But he's still black.
Who's your favorite basketball player, right?
Right.
You say
Exactly.
Jordan?
Magic Johnson at the time. He said Magic Johnson.
You're right.
So he's like, Magic Johnson. I'm like, okay, well, you got Magic and you got Prince. You got two of the best brothers in the early 80s, right? The two biggest names in the early 80s, because, you know, so that's the kind of thing that we look at, no different than the young people who listen to this will confer that's the new Tiger Woods, because Tiger is black, but he ain't black, right? So when you're looking at something and Tim Anderson said, hold on. I know that I'm getting busy. I know I'm up for probably a good paycheck coming up, and I know I'm doing my thing, and the skippers got me rolling, but I'm no Jackie Robinson. They don't honor my number once a year where every Major League Baseball team wear the same number 42. I ain't got to that point yet. Matter of fact, Jordan ain't even got to that point where the whole NBA wear 2-3, right, Mike? It's only one player that I know, not even Wayne Gretzky. But everyone wears on one day, once a year. They put Jackie Robinson's jersey on. Everyone respects the 4-2.
And that's why they knew that Josh Donaldson was full of it. Now, I could have told them it was full of it because Josh Donaldson has played in at least another city where I have lived, and I've seen Josh Donaldson wear out his welcome very, very quickly. The fact
now, when you
that
say full of it, Mike, is that as in going to the gas station getting some 93? I'll put some 87 in there when you know your car gonna die on that.
no. I mean that there is one throne that Josh Donaldson needs to be on, and that's the one that flushes. So look, Josh Donaldson was an idiot when he was with Oakland. When I was out in the Bay Area, people knew that they accepted his numbers, coach, because he would put up numbers. But after a while, they had to get rid of him. All of a sudden, he was gone. I didn't know what even happened. It's like, wow, he's gone, huh? And then he was in Toronto, and Toronto got to the playoffs. Well, all of a sudden, he was gone again. Now he's at the Yankees. He's at the Yankees. So it just seems as though he just, wears out his welcome. Now, I never seen somebody keep falling up, though.
And the crazy part about it is you're in the wrong market, because you go to New York, Chicago, and Philly, and maybe Washington, give or take. They're going to let you know when you're messing up. They're going to let you know off the rack when you're messing up. And when you're messing up, you got to go. And for Josh to even implicate that, the crazy part about it is, Tim Anderson, he understood. He knew the implications behind everything, and he understood the fact that, he's trying to taunt him. Yeah, he's trying to do this and that. Why not just hit him with the ball? I'd rather just hit him with the ball, right, Mike? Start a fight, or hit me with the ball, that I know you don't like me, so we can figure this out. But to put me on a pedestal like that you might well just go ahead and call me the N-word from the mound, so I can act like I'm going to run the first, but I'm about to beat you down. I'm about to give you that old Southside beat down, man.
What happened to old school baseball anyway? I mean, I know that our manager, Tony La Russa, the Hall of Famer, has gotten a little bit older, but you used to hit people over there, didn't you? I mean,
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Val, hey
Yeah.
Val, I'm
Pop
putting,
Johnson
hey, hey
on
Val,
his rear,
uh,
on his
right,
thigh,
I'm,
on his
I'm putting you in for
forearm,
one inning.
bunch of
I'm
places.
putting you in for one inning, Val, one inning, and all I need you to do
Is
is
hit.
get up there and hit him 3 times. And here's what's gonna
Hit
happen
him.
back in the day: the first time you hit him is gonna be a warning. The
That's
second
right.
time you hit him, umpire gonna talk to you, and the third time you hit him is an ejection. So you go ahead and get all 3 of your hits.
But they didn't handle that. You know what? They get the real revenge was the hit that TA hit that went out of the park at Yankee
Right,
Stadium. That was magnificent home run.
man.
Love it,
Hey
love
Mike, he didn't even leave home plate. The time he hit it, he
it.
pointed to
Just stood there. And here's the thing, Val. Can you tell me what's wrong with your New York people? They chanting Jackie as every time TA went to bat. I never
right,
seen such classless people in my life. I
I
mean,
don't
crazy.
even the
understand what's
manager
happening.
of the Yankees, even to his credit, knew that his player was in the wrong, and he was no good. He didn't defend his player. He let him just
Right,
hang out there. I got to
yeah,
give Aaron
yeah,
Boone credit for that one. He
yeah,
did not
yeah.
back. He did not
Again,
back
again,
Dodger.
again, it goes back to the fact that Springer, you can put out here to the audience. You working in a factory, and
Ouch.
Mike is the GM, and Valarie is the supervisor on duty,
Okay,
and
all right.
you know, and that's where we are. And all of a sudden, you say something, and Val supposed to be the supervisor that got my back, and she let it slide. And then all of a sudden, Mike walks in like, "Hey, what's going? Why is all my workers walking outside on a smoke break at the same time?"
Mhm.
You know,
Exactly.
right? So,
Get in
you
Yeah.
know,
here.
so it's crazy. It is that, and here's the crazy part about it is, Mike. Here, I don't know if you tied this to it. We are already going through a crazy time in America right now. Today, a
Ooh.
fool walked into an elementary school and killed 18 kids today, man.
And two
18 kids
adults.
in Texas.
And
And
two
we still
adults.
got stuff like this. Now, I'm gonna ask you, Mike, when the COVID was here, with you and Val, and as we was getting interludes together, right? I remember Val called me doing this and that. What was the one thing that people wanted during COVID? They wanted to see sports because the only thing that was on, the only 2 sports that was on that people didn't get COVID was what? Freaking golf and tennis. Because the tennis is 30 feet away from each other, and golf, unless you that good, you never gonna hit your ball next to my ball on the golf course.
Right, right.
So people got tired of watching golf because Tiger Woods wasn't playing, and they got tired of watching tennis because Serena and Venus was already there, and here comes Osaka, right? So they were watching freaking NASCAR because you're in the car, right? People wanted the sports back. They wanted music back. And it gave them a sense of release that this is why the NBA went to the bubble. This is why everybody did everything to do whatever they could do to get sports back. Now you get it back at the time the country needs it. And then all of a sudden, you get a knucklehead like Emerson says something this and just kind of pulls us back in a whole different direction.
Yeah, and we were a little I was a little sad at the top of the hour, and along with experiencing tech issues with what we had earlier, and Joe President Biden just was on most emotional. I'd never seen any president just feel this kind of emotion. And earlier you were saying before we got on, Michael, if the parents had done the same thing.
Oh, so this is so what one of the commentators on TV
What
had a guest on as Michael Moore, filmmaker, controversial filmmaker, Roger and Me, Bowling for Columbine, and he made a remark that just kind of floored me here, and that was this. He said that what if, what if the families in Sandy
Mhm.
Hook Elementary in Connecticut, which those of you older folks out here, you remember was a time when the shooter went into an elementary school
Right.
and did as what happened today. What
Right.
if those families, instead of having private funerals, decided to do what Medgar Evers' mother decided to do with Medgar Evers?
Oh
You mean
man.
Emmett?
Excuse
You
me,
mean
Emmett
Emmett
Till.
Till? Emmett
Sorry,
Till.
Emmett
Emmett
Till.
Till.
And
Yeah.
just,
What
me.
if those families had decided to do with their children what Emmett Till's mother decided to do with Emmett Till, which was to show the world the
Leave
brutality
casket open.
of this? Yes, open casket. If they had open casket, those children, those babies that died, the ones that, as you remember, when President Obama was in office, brought him to tears.
Right.
Um, what if that had happened? Would we be in the same place that we are today?
Mike, unfortunately, man, um, and I don't pull any political parties here and there. This thing to each his own. But the only answer that I would give you that is this, and I would double back on that. You tell me if I'm right or I'm wrong. When the Buffalo shooting happened a week ago, we talked about it. No
We
one
did.
from the right, no one from the right made a comment. I don't know if you noticed that. No one from the right talked about anything that happened with that shooting, because their agenda was still on Roe versus Wade, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
so
Yeah.
they're hiding behind that because they're too worried about taking our young females and our women off of birth control and doing away with abortion, that the murder situation doesn't matter. Even our beloved Mr. Donald Trump, who came on and support these people and supporting Herschel Walker and supporting, of all people, Dr. Oz up here, never mentioned anything. And you were within a few hundred miles from Buffalo and Philadelphia. But yet and still the agenda that you're trying to push and you're still talking about for the election coming up is how wrong that President Biden's been. And the man, to me, personally to me, he's had more on his hands as a person to handle a crisis than to be a president. Now, Obama came into office, he had one thing to the next, to the next. He cleaned it up and blah, 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 got his agenda through. But this man walks in the office in the middle of COVID and is still here. He walks in the middle of office in the middle of a crisis that's still here. He walks into the office, the economy going into the tank, which is still here. And he walks into the office with crime at its all-time high and is still here. So when you look at that and you look at everybody, you notice something, man? Think about yourself, and Val, think about yourself and the people that's listening or going to listen. We never worry about anything until it physically hit our house. Unfortunately, and I'll say that, I thought the world was great until I got my house broken to like one day, Val. And
Hmm.
my mental mind state was completely different
Yeah.
because it happened to me.
Yeah.
Even though it occurred to one of my neighbors a few months prior, I was like, oh man, that's terrible. Oh, that's this and that's that. But the day that it happened to me, oh man, I was, man, I was ready to, I was already Bonnie and Clyde. So circle back with a boomerang, Mike. That's what Tim Anderson felt at that plate because he thought he was doing something as a here today and now athlete on his way to stardom and greatness. And then you throw him back in that back hook. So he's like, wow, I didn't think about it till it actually happened to me.
Well, I
Yeah.
got to tell you, I think about it every day. Every day that I go into a school, I think about it.
Yeah. You
I,
teach.
I, I, I am.
Yeah,
I,
you're a teacher, man, and
I
I
can't. I
applaud you.
can't.
I
I
applaud
can't stop thinking about it. I mean, it was within the last year, even coming back from COVID, that not only do we have to learn how to do fire drills. We got to go back and like, well, we got to do the shooter drills too. Okay, and they are. And here's the thing, and I'll pull the curtain back. So they are the opposite. To be able to have to wrap your mind around this idea that okay, what are we doing? We're doing a shooter drill. All right, you hear the fire alarm go off for a drill, a shooter drill, coach. Val, you hear the fire
Yeah.
alarm go off. So,
Right.
so what do you have to do as a teacher? You have to tell your students, stop. No, don't go to the door. Don't open the door. Don't head to the hallway. Turn out the
Right.
lights. Get down. Get away from the door.
Right.
For a fire alarm? Now, why do you have to do that for a fire alarm? Well, because of what happened in Florida at Marjorie Stoneman High School. That shooter pulled the fire alarm. And when he
Right.
Wow.
pulled the fire alarm, people ran out, streamed out of the classrooms, and he had ready targets.
Yep.
So now
And he
you
knocked on
have
the
to
door.
wrap your head around this idea that, wait, there's a fire alarm, but I can't move because I don't know if it's a fire. I don't know if it's a shooter. I have to wait for somebody to give an all clear. And if that person who goes out to give the all clear, I may never see them again. I don't
Correct.
know. I don't know what's going on here. Now, here's the thing. Now that's on the high school level, and I've been dealing with that for years. I've been in high
Mhm.
schools in three different states, and in each of those
Wow.
states, we had to do shooter drills and learn how to do those along with fire drills. What's
Yeah.
making me sad is I have a first grader, and she is having to learn how to do shooter drills,
Mm-hmm.
and
Wow.
I don't think that that's right. And when I
I
hear on
just
the
graduated.
news,
That's
when
you
I
know
hear
something
on the news,
that I became phantom on that mic. I
yeah,
just
but when I hear
graduated.
on the news, when I hear on the news, and I hear on the news, some commentators say, and it's not her fault when she said that the elementary school was a soft target. I,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
not that's not okay. There's no way we shouldn't be anywhere near a situation like this. We shouldn't be near that.
Yeah.
The one thing that I will
We
say,
all have children.
uh,
I'm not the only person with a child. I know we all
right,
have children,
exactly.
but are you thinking about your kids in this way?
Mm-hmm.
I just
What they,
graduated my granddaughter today. That's when you just said that. I was just thinking about. I just graduated
how old
my
is your
granddaughter.
granddaughter? How old is your
My,
granddaughter, Coach?
it is a great weekend, Val. My grandbaby just turned 5 on Saturday,
Oh.
and then she graduated from pre-K today to first
Mhm.
grade. So to hear Mike say that and to know that at 5 years old, that my granddaughter is going to go through those same procedures he was talking to is nuts. And here's the crazy part about it, Val and Mike. We are
Mhm.
a product of the Chicago public school system. I am. And I grew up in that real Chicago, baby, back in that 80s, where everything in the city was off the hook. And we still didn't have those type of drills. Now, yeah, we had gang type drills
Right.
that would, you had a fire alarm that would not a fire alarm, but a dismissal alarm to let you out from school. And then you had a fire alarm that would let you out, for safety if there was a gang fight based on X, Y, or Z. But we never, ever, ever had a person come to the school drill or get down because there's a person active shooter on the yard. None of that. With none of that. Because the gangs weren't coming in school, they were doing their craziness on the outside. So to
Right.
hear 30 some odd years later, 40 years later, to sit up and know that these kids, my granddaughter, your niece, your nephew, your kids, Mike, has got to go to school and learn a completely different uh, approach to being let out of school is amazing.
So I wanted to kind of acknowledge the chat. I appreciate everyone sticking in here, and we've kind of made a little bit of a turn away from sports, but we're fine. Mr. Springer, thank you so much for kind of saying what's been on our hearts. We're praying for the families of the people and the children that were gunned down in a Texas elementary. When at first I was hearing 11, and now the confirmation has been up to 18.
Yes.
Then I
18.
see that
18
yeah,
children,
children.
two
Yeah,
adults. Because
yeah,
a teacher was one of the first people to lose her life. They are
Yeah,
trying to
it's
right,
total of 20, 18 kids, 2 adults, total of 20.
right. And then Amy was saying that when she was younger, they did the tornado and nuclear bomb drills. Do you guys remember that?
Yes, I actually remember. I remember the bomb drill. I mean, yes, we had to. That's when you learn how to take cover, duck, and roll. Just in case.
Right. Yeah, and I don't know. And the Amy also said that her niece and nephew they're in a private school here located in Chicago, and the vast majority of the security members are retired police officers. But Even
Oh
if you
yeah, we
think
have
about,
that.
we
Sure.
have that, and definitely at the grocery store, the gentleman who got shot at
In
the grocery
Buffalo.
store in Buffalo was retired. So it's just,
But one
how can
retired
you? But
police
let
officer.
me. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, Michael. Let me make this point. How are we thinking that we can push back and say Roe versus Wade? We don't want you. We don't want you women to have any control over your bodies.
Right.
We want to. We want you to have this kid. Okay, I'm going to have the kid. So change the gun laws. How about that?
Correct.
You want me to
Right.
have these children? You're saying, hey, Roe versus Wade. Let's reverse this. But you don't have the tenacity to think, like, why is there assault rifles on the street? Like, why do we have that? That is for military. And if you
Right.
have a assault rifle or anything with a bunch of multiple rounds, that is meant for killing people.
And
Like,
you get
people
in
think.
cities like Chicago,
Mhm,
right? It does
mhm.
got Illinois, the toughest gun law in the country, and the softest acceptance law. When I say that, meaning that they did a news report that the stores over in East Indiana, right in Hammond,
Right,
in
right.
that area, that you can go across the border, and Mike can be a dope man or a big man or whoever he wants to be. He can give me and you 10 stacks. We can go across the border, and I can give you 5,000. I give 5,000, and I can make as many purchases with that $5,000 as so can you. And that only counts as not one, but it only counts as two purchases because they don't have to initially put down every gun that I'm buying. And then I can bring them back across the border, go down in Inglewood, or go down in someplace on the south side or the west side on the low end and sell these guns to potential criminals that come up and they do have it. And the crazy part about it is, now, Mike, this may make you mad, and Val may make you mad, but one of the guys on the news today, not even one of the guys, Benjamin Crump said, and I love his speech. Why is it that the brown man always are getting carried out, but the man is always having to get his hands up and he's found technically insane so he can stand trial, but we never get a chance to get to trial because our trial is the day that they find us, we're not coming home. And I don't get it. And I really don't get it because now you give a ignorant person, as Val said, an assault rifle. What if I started to use that assault rifle now that Roe versus Wade is gone, and I start to hold up my spouse and demand everything else, and then that person comes up pregnant and can't get rid of the baby? Because as you remember, when we went into COVID, what was the three things that was devastating? There was incest. There were neglect
Oh,
with people that were beating children, and then there were men that were raping their wives or significant others. Because think about it, if I don't want you and you're not there, and I don't have to do whatever I want to do, now you're stuck in the house with me and COVID rules that I can't go outside. Now the female found themselves in a vulnerable position they couldn't get away from, and these lawmakers don't see that and they don't think about that.
yeah. And Mike, you muted yourself.
No, I did. I know I did. I did it on purpose. Um,
Hmm.
there's a problem. There's a real problem. And coach, here's the thing. You were talking about sports, which is how we started. But here's the thing. I don't know if you saw this, but did you see Steve Kerr's pregame interview?
No, I did not.
No, we did not.
Okay.
We missed it.
Steve,
We missed
okay,
it.
Steve Kerr is it comes out there and he says he sits down, he says he looks out at the reporters, he says to them, um, I'm not gonna talk to you about basketball right now. He said we got a game and we'll play our game, and then after the game I'll talk to you about the game. But I'm not gonna talk to you about basketball now, not after this. And here's my point. And he talked about the shooting in Buffalo. He talked about the shooting in California that people don't mention because only one person died,
Yeah,
but it was
right.
another shooting that occurred within the span of this last 2 weeks. And what happened today, which they're playing the game. The Warriors are playing in Texas. They're playing
Right.
in Dallas tonight. So he said, I'm not going to talk to you about basketball down. He went off and it was incendiary and he was mad and he was righteous because, and I don't need to go into all of it, but if you are interested, you should look up Steve Kerr. If you look up Steve Kerr, then you know about his family and you know how this issue has touched his life. And
Right.
he went into it. He went in on it. And this is the point that I make to you, Coach, which I think is valid, kind of coming around full circle to what you said. During COVID, we wanted sports. We needed
We
sports.
did.
We needed a
Yeah.
break from reality.
Right.
However, if you remember at the same time, then we lost George Floyd. And
Correct.
who was it that pushed and made the biggest public impression that pushed that agenda, along with the people who took to the streets? It were our athletes. They made sure that
Oh
that
yeah.
message was there so that
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
could not escape that reality. There are times when we need a break, we need to escape, but there are
Hmm.
sometimes when we need to be confronted and we don't need an exit to get away from it, because getting away from it means not dealing with the issue. And I think for too long we have found ways to escape this particular issue, and that's why it is continuously a problem. We've lost too many people. If we only just refine it to schools and gun violence, we have lost far too many people, far too
And Mike,
many here.
I'm gonna give you
So
one, Mike.
he put the spotlight back on it. Coach Kerr put the spotlight back on it.
Good.
So
Good.
I feel like that this is what we're supposed to be talking about, because he understands that in
Right.
his platform he's got to use that sometimes to do this. Coach
Correct.
Pop is the same way. Coach Popovich would have
I
been the
love
same
Pop.
way if his Spurs were in the playoffs. I know he
Yeah.
would have been talking about what happened today too.
Exactly. I
There are
love
some
Pop.
people that are just wired differently, and they understand that sports are a way to get away, and so it brings us all together. But but at times we need to come together because we need to deal with the issue.
Right.
Yeah, and Mike, you forgot one place. That's where
Where?
you and Val at. And
Where?
don't forget, there's also in the midst of all of this, there was a shooting in Chicago, of all places, at 50 McDonald's, Crawford Portillo's downtown. 10 people
Oh.
shot, 4 people
I don't
dead.
forget.
So I
I
know,
didn't
I know
forget.
you don't, but I'm just saying to our viewers. And what makes me mad, what really makes me mad, I love my city. I'm ride or die. Everybody in Nashville tell you, like, dude, you left Chicago. I'm represent every day on something. But what
Hmm.
makes me mad, Mike, is that when something goes on in our city, is never, ever, ever, ever brought to the forefront, because it goes back to when Trump said Chicago is the second of all places, like an old Germany. And people, every time they hear Chicago, they think something bad is going on. And when things go wrong, they don't talk about it. You didn't even, I know people I asked about, I said, man, did you hear about the shooting in Chicago? No. Because why? Because they never heard about it. Because Buffalo took such a precedence. And like you said, Mike, the California situation to me could have been worse than Buffalo, because my man came into church and chained the church down and locked the church. And if it
Yeah.
wasn't for the pastor to bust him in the back of the head with a chair, he
Right.
could have lit the entire, parishioners up inside the church. And then in Chicago, of
It,
all places, downtown,
it,
early
it,
morning.
oh, 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 beyond that. So if
Hmm.
you if what I mean, yes, there was that, coach, but then I mean, you're right. There's a point when you start to get numb, and I think
Right.
that's the problem, because within the last week, Val, I don't know if you remember this, but at Disney Magnet, which is one of the schools on the north side of the
Right.
city, I know because I had a kid go there. So
Hmm.
at Disney Magnet, where they have a program with digital animation that came from Disney, all these wonderful things going on at this school on the far north side, coach. So what happened? They had to call in the police. Why? Because a gun went off in a second grade classroom. Why? Because somebody put a gun in the backpack of a second grader, and that gun accidentally went off on its own in the class. Now, it's not the second grader's fault. Somebody
Yeah.
put that in his bag. Some adult put that in his bag.
Why? Why?
That's
Why?
So then the mother of that child is then brought up on charges.
sure,
Right. I
sure,
get that.
sure.
Yeah. But it's a why is a second grader carrying a gun? And why did a parent or a grown up put a gun in a backpack of a
Who?
second grader?
Why?
Why?
Who would think that you would need to have some type of a metal detector? And for
And the
for,
crazy
for
part about it,
elementary school?
and the
Is
crazy
it an
part about it,
airport? Is it a jail?
Val, Val just hit the point. The hard part about it, and I know people talk about, hold the parents responsible, but if you got a straight up trifling child, then I'm gonna do everything I can do to get my mom and daddy in trouble because I don't feel like dealing with you. So sometimes I don't always think that is the answer. Unfortunately, Mike, like it was when I ended up playing ball overseas, man, back in the early '90s. Sometimes the overseas laws, to me, they work. You go do something, you are tried at that point. Perfect example, and we mentioned it the other day, and I know we innocent until proven guilty. That's no longer the United States because now when things happen, you are now guilty as Johnny Depp. And he's just trying to get a damn divorce, right?
Huh.
You are guilty until you found innocent in the States. But what kills me is this. When you know a situation like Columbine, you know a situation like South Carolina, and you know a situation like Buffalo, and the killer's already there, why not reduce their time so that me as a taxpayer is not having to worry about 20, 30 years, or like the guy from the Waffle House. We're giving you 30 days. So that lawyer, that prosecutor better get on a job because you got 30 days. And at the end of that 30 days, then we as a jury of your peers or whatever are going to go. Because if I know that you are the person, now you're not a person of interest, but I know you're the physical person who did this monstrous stuff, then why am I going to allow you to go to jail so that you can be put up on a pedestal, right, with a white supremacist or whomever, that you go into jail thinking that you are, beyond God, basically. And then we're going to worry about, trying to figure something out for you for the next 30, 40 years. I think that once you correct that, then some of this stuff here begins to get corrected.
Yeah. Well, I think and I know the people that the NRA and the folks that love the gun rights and the Second Amendment rights. It just there are sensible gun laws that are on the books. I feel like that just needs to come back up, and then all assault rifles for sale, illegally, legally, whatever you want to call it, just banned. That is, there's like I feel like a lot of these mass shootings that happen, the person or the perpetrator that gets their hands on it, they're getting these assault weapons probably bootleg from somewhere else or someone else, definitely. But it's just if they weren't on the street because they were banned, and if you hear this in other countries, is there an issue with mass shootings in
No,
children? No,
no.
we
No,
are the only country in the world that has issues with mass shootings in public arenas, especially schools. Is
yeah,
Yeah, I don't get that. And Biden mentioned that he had just come back from China, I believe, or from
Japan.
overseas,
Yeah, Japan.
Japan,
Yeah.
and
South
he
Korea and
says
Japan.
this is not happening in the other countries. And I'm thinking to myself, and yeah, it isn't, because this
No.
freedom. I'll mention this. And I'll chill out. This is America. The
No.
childish
You don't have to
Gambino
chill out, Val. It's your show.
is.
right. Hey, hey,
You don't
John,
have to
matter of
chill
fact,
out.
Hey, Van, this is America. Drop some of that Kendrick Lamar. This is America, right?
Well, no.
Childish
I'm thinking
Gambino. Yes.
Hey,
the Childish Gambino in that video when you see him place the gun on like this very nice
Choir.
after something has happened, it's like a nice palette or something. And he
right,
keeps right on singing. It speaks to that psychology of we're going to protect the gun laws as much as possible. We're going to reverse Roe versus Wade. You got to have that baby, but your baby might get shot up because we ain't protecting you with
right.
with no laws because it's my right to carry a gun. But if I'm black, I'm gonna get shot down
So
by
I'm
any
gonna ask you a
means
question,
necessary. I
Mike, and
don't
you
know.
and Val. Have you
Mhm.
guys seen this series on AMC called 61st Street?
I heard about that. That's got
Can't watch it.
you can't watch
I
it?
can't watch it. Can't watch it.
Oh,
But
Do
what's
you
but
know
wrong with
about
it?
it?
I do know about it, but I cannot watch it. And the reason, and feel free to tell me about it, but I'm just gonna tell you why I can't watch it. There's only so much trauma I can take,
Right,
and there's so much real life trauma right now that I have to limit my like fictional trauma. So
right.
I can't take that. About a half hour into the first episode, and I know you, if you've seen it, you know what happens. Something
Yep.
happens about a half hour in, and at that point, coach, I went click. Next thing, can't watch that. Don't need to get involved in that.
So
Right,
that's the series with Courtney B.
Courtney
Vance,
Vance on
right,
AMC
Angela
is yep.
Alice. Yeah.
right.
And what's
Michael
it
B.
about?
Jordan, I
And
think, is a producer.
As
what network
as
is
the
that on?
series go on, Mike, it actually lightens itself up. But you are so right.
Okay.
I guess what with me sometimes, man, so entrenched in the city and home, and being away for so many years, when I see different things about the city, I'm more looking at, okay, where are they doing this? What's going on? And I see that, and it's being ran out of Inglewood. And a lot of people that are not from Chicago don't understand when you say Inglewood and the real Inglewood, how it was and how it used to be and how it still is. And when you see this lawyer who actually has his own personal problem with testicular cancer that's
Yes, Courtney
going
B.
on,
Vance's character.
yeah, in his own life, and he's trying to hide that, which speaks to black men because we never want to go to the doctor when something's going on with us. We're gonna figure we're gonna just fight through it. We tough,
Drink some tussin. Put some
right?
tussin on it.
Put some tussle on it, and you good. And then what then is fight for freedom for the young kids in the area. Young man running track, at Inglewood High School, and gets caught on the wrong side of the track because you got a dirty police department, no more than we run this city in Baltimore, right? Right?
Same idea. Yes, it does have. Yes,
Same idea.
yes.
I'm gonna get this
Mm-hmm.
paper. I'm gonna rob these young fools. I'm gonna put the crime on whomever I want to put it on because I'm the
Right.
police. And I think what happens, Mike, in terms of what you said, is 100, meaning that we as older adults turn away from the stuff because it either bothers us or we don't want to watch the foolishness. But I think what happens is our kids are tuning in because after that, my son come to me like, Dad, I'm watching the series like Chirac. Hey man, that's us and our kids. We as
Hmm.
adults we turn away, but the
Okay.
kids they tune in. And what
Mhm.
happens is they start to try to be copycats of these cities and they learn these streets. They don't know nothing about 61st and Morgan. They don't know nothing about 61st and Halsted and Vincennes.
I
You
do.
talk to these kids, they don't know nothing about
I
that. They
do.
don't know nothing about get on the L, riding the 95th to the blue line to the red line. They don't know nothing about that. But yet and still, they listen to Lil Durk, right? They listen to G Herbo. They
You are
listen to
right.
Chief Keef.
You
They
make a
listen
point,
to
Coach. You make a
right,
good point.
and
Yes. Yes.
they bring
Mhm.
these truths to life. My son, for a perfect example, Mike, it's a perfect example. He was listening to Lil Durk and G Herbo and these guys, and he was like talking about the gangway. He thought the freaking gangway was about gang life. I said, no, fool. the gangway, the access to the front of the apartment to the alleyway, dude. That's how we grew up, man. It's the gangway,
Oh
fool.
man.
You
Oh
see what I'm saying?
man.
You
Yeah,
see what
I
I'm saying?
do.
Wow.
But but
Yes.
but, but Mike, I have to break this down as a coach because I'm involved in anywhere from 9 to 15 young men lives, sometimes 30 young men's lives every summer. And I watch these young men around me listen to this rap. They listen to it for the wrong reasons. And like I tell when I bring the kids to Chicago to play ball or Indianapolis, I say, while y'all are listening to the lyrics, what you're not understanding is the context in the music, in the word, because sometimes these guys that's rapping say certain things to trap you up. And in the meanwhile, you roll into Chicago on the south side, west side, spitting these lyrics and don't understand you're in the wrong territory.
Yeah, you do make a good point. When I talk to my son at times, and he wants to talk about Chicago and hip hop, and I try to caution him on all of that. I heard King Von, I heard this, or Juice
Right.
WRLD, or this or that. I'm like, okay, but that's like, look, you don't understand. And I remind him like, you are from here, but you not here, and you're not of here,
You,
okay?
you
You
ain't in that
know,
light.
yeah. He's like, I wanna rap. It's like, yeah, but you don't understand. That's a different thing. What's happening there? Why they're doing that? What they're saying. You
Right.
you don't need to be. Look, you ain't here for a reason. I don't want you to get caught up. Is some of that. Coach Hector Pratt. He's like, yeah, but I'm from Chicago. Like, nah, boy, you were born in Oak Park. Look.
Right. You
Yeah.
in trouble. Hey, Mike, that's like when you hear people when you're out of town, like Val in New York, and
Yeah.
somebody say, I'm from Chicago. They don't know Val from Chicago. And she be like, okay, I'm from Chicago too, girl. Where you from? Oh, I'm from Evanston. Girl, you ain't from Chicago. You in the suburb. Come on,
I'm like, you
man.
And
you 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 closer
so
to Frank Lloyd
61st
Wright.
61st Street, Val, right there. I
so
like it. I, I,
so
I
that's
think the
and
series.
it's based in Chicago?
Is
It's
based in
not.
Chicago,
It
in
is.
Inglewood, and the reason why I like it, and I know Mike turned away, is just it's real life. What's going on with what's happening now is involved in a community that happens to also involve a school, which also happen to involve police, and happen to involve the county, which is Cook County on 26th Street, and nobody. If you ain't from Chicago, you don't know about 26th Street in California, but it involves the county and it involves all that. So it's a mixture, Val, of everything that the city of Chicago was born of. And the people, my son asked me an interesting question, Mike, because I lived in New York and lived in Chicago. And he said,
Mhm.
Dad, what's the big difference from Chicago and New York? I said, well, when you're in New York, like my family live, I live uptown 125th and 5th, and family's over in Washington Heights area and up in BK. So
Uh-huh.
I still got family down in Hell's Kitchen as well. So when you look at New York, it's about 5 boroughs. That's why when something goes wrong in New York, all they do is set a bridge down. They got you trapped because they know you ain't about to jump in the Hudson, right, and swim to try to get out. So it's just
Great
a matter of
movie.
what you're trying to
Yeah.
do. I said the difference is
Great movie.
Chicago is one mass of land. And even though New York rep the boroughs, Chicago rep the blocks. So that's why I could be in
Sure.
Chicago and walk to the bus stop. It may take me 3 to 4 blocks, but I may come through 3 or 4 different gang areas just to get to the bus or to the L or to the train. So this is why when he said, man, I noticed when you bump into people from Chicago, you guys don't even have to say what street you're from. I could just say the community. I'm from Peel Hill, from the low end. I'm from Chatham. I'm from Roseland. That's because a true Chicagoan, I don't have to tell you my street number once you tell me where you're from. If I'm from the city, because I know where you're from if I'm born and bred into the city. And I
Yeah.
like 61st Street only because of the fact of the matter is that to me, they're at least trying to do something different from Inglewood, from where the true Chicago people know about Inglewood.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I couldn't feel it. I didn't feel it. I looked around, coach, respectfully. When I saw that the young man is supposed to be in high school athlete, he looked older than me. And
Yeah, he
I'm
did.
like, who cast this?
Until he cut
I'm
his
like,
hair off.
no, who cast this? Is the same people that cast 21 Jump Street many years ago.
Ooh,
Like,
wait a
this is
minute.
not. Now
Hey, Mike,
Courtney B. Vance is working. He's
and
working in this.
what you
I
gonna go
gotta
crazy
give
on,
him
Mike?
that.
And what you
What's
gonna
that?
go crazy on if you watched it? When the young man who runs track, who looks older than me and you, when he
Yes.
gets caught and gets his hair cut off, they change characters. A whole different person is now playing the guy. He didn't even the same guy.
Yeah. So, what network is that? AMC?
It's on AMC.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they had the
No, it's on
budget for
no,
stuff like that. I don't understand. AMC has money. Well,
Yeah, well, I
maybe
mean, they got
a
it's
little
some
money.
the writing is kind of
Okay.
and no disrespect to the writer, but the writer may be writing about experience that he is reading from the newspaper.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? I don't
You know what
know
I'm
if we
saying?
can recommend it. Yeah, there we go. I don't know if we could recommend 61st Street, but Coach Tony saw it. He liked it. Hey, it is what it is.
You should be aware of what it is, as Coach Tony said. You should be aware of
You
what it
should be
is because if
aware.
you're not
Yeah.
watching it, your kids might be watching this. Some other people,
Right.
that's
in
the
your
thing.
life might be watching
I
it.
just want
You
you to
should
make sure
know
you're
what it
aware.
is.
You may
Right.
not watch it as an adult, but your child may be watching it and then out here trying to act like they represent what's going on. But
Right.
before we get too far, Mike, for promotional purposes only, I'm going to have to high five you, my man, because you dropped them picks for me, right? You did.
I
And,
tried.
hey,
Yeah.
but at least I told you nobody was watching the Miami Heat. But I'm going to tell you, man, the way Jason Tatum is playing right now, I know everybody, y'all got your pencils and your pens out. I'm about to just go. I'm believe it now. I'm about to go Golden State and Boston. You know, I think that's going to be a great final.
Wow.
I,
Really?
I think
It's
I think
going to be Golden State and
Jimmy
the
Buckets is
loser.
hurt. Jimmy hurt right now, Val, and he may come back
Oh,
tomorrow night.
okay.
But I just think Boston has just got too much right now, and they rolling.
Coach, I don't want to see that series.
I
You
know you
don't?
don't.
Why not?
That'll be the most. That series is not gonna be interesting because look, the Warriors could beat anybody at this point in time. So I'm not worried about the Warriors whether they're gonna win.
Wow.
They're winning
Right.
in 4 or they're winning 5, and they
Yeah,
may
they're
So
lose.
winning five.
They
are
might
they
lose.
now they're playing right now If I'm looking
Yeah,
at
They
it
but
correct.
getting blown out right now. They win. They blowing Golden State out by 15 right now, so game's over. But it's at halftime, and I can't say that because they were up by 18 2 games ago, and the Warriors came from 18 down to win by 4. Crazy.
No. I'm still giving the Warriors this game. I don't care how much they down. They're gonna win this game. They kind of they might be a
And
little
if
bit
they
distracted,
win,
but they'll
it'll
be
be a
fine.
sweep. If they win, it'll be a sweep. It's
But
like
here's the
Rules out,
thing.
you're
Val.
done.
They're going to win. The Warriors will win the finals, the NBA finals. But it will be a
Wow.
much more interesting game if they play the Heat instead of the Celtics. The Celtics can't. Coach, who's gonna guard? Who's gonna guard Golden State on the Celtics?
Well, you know, I think the one thing I'm gonna like, Mike. I'm gonna tell you, man, and I'm gonna go with you, man. To me, Golden State becomes the story this year, and the reason why I say that is because Klay Thompson comes from 18 months off, 18 months,
Wow.
pulls a Michael Jordan, comes back 18 months later, and they go directly to the final the year that he comes back. They put the Splash Brothers back in with Draymond Green, Dirty Green, playing, but they add a kid in Poole, and now they also getting Looney playing. Now, you ask that question, who gonna guard whom? I think that if Boston matches up with Golden State, then
Okay.
I love Williams. He plays over the top. He's going to guard Draymond Green, obviously. The problem is going to be for Golden State is who's going to be able to stop Jason Tatum? Nobody, right? Tatum's going to
Doesn't
average
matter.
30. He's going
Wait,
to average 30.
Look. If Tatum averages 30, as you said,
Yeah.
who's the second and third scorer for the Celtics? Because
I
that's
think
not going to be enough.
I
Any
think
one of 4 people
Jaylen
on
Brown.
Golden State can get 30.
Well, I think what you're going to see is you got Smart, Defensive Player of the Year. You're either going to put him on Steph, and you're going
He's
to bang
hurt.
Steph up.
And he hurt
Or,
still.
yeah, you're gonna put Smart on Steph.
Yeah, but
He's
he's
got
hurt
to.
still, isn't he? He's still hurt.
Yeah, but he hurt his ankle. He'll be back. He'll be back in 2 weeks. He'll be back in 2 weeks. If I don't let him play again the rest of this series, because I'm up 3-1 right now, right? 3-1, so it's gonna be hard for Miami to win 3 straight.
Yes. Okay.
So I'm gonna get my rest. If I can close out this game possibly tomorrow night, I may get. And if Dallas continues to do what they're doing, and they win tonight, that's gonna give me about an extra 2 days of rest on that ankle.
Okay. All right.
So now you got Tatum, Brown, and Smart against the Splash Brothers and Poole, and then you got Williams guarding Draymond Green. The problem would be, who would they match up with Looney? And nobody can match up with Looney.
Okay.
So that's advantage. That's advantage Warriors.
Advantage Golden State. I think if Boston go to the finals, is Golden State in 7. If Miami goes to the final, is Golden State in 5.
7.
7.
You got the Celtics winning 2 games against the Warriors?
I got the Celtics winning 3 games.
Did the Warriors get lost? Did they not find
Nah,
No, Boston's
think-
gonna
I mean,
fight.
what
Boston is gonna fight. Boston. That's how they say it.
and it's about the paper, Mike. It's about the paper. So them boys gonna figure out a way. The NBA gonna figure out a way to run that 7 games before the
Right.
draft.
That's right.
The ref can make all kind of physical calls, but you can't tell me I didn't see a 3-pointer go in. You can't blow a whistle off a 3-pointer. Okay,
That's gonna be a difference. But what you're not gonna see is all them fouls. So it's Smart gets up on Steph Curry and jam him up and play him the way he going like he just said. He just took Jimmy buckets off. So you know what was funny, Mike? Charles Barkley. We talked about this last week, right? Charles and Shaq got into it about Jimmy getting 40, and then and Barkley said he can't keep doing this if you got the defensive player of the year on him. And Shaq said yes he can. And 2 days later, Smart gets on Butler, and what happened? Jimmy's out, hurt.
Look, if someone dares to touch Steph or Clay, you don't think they're gonna run into Draymond Green or Green Spring?
They might.
But you don't think that Draymond gonna run into Williams?
You got a lot of confidence in Williams. And good luck.
Hey, only reason why I say I saw him play. Here's the thing.
Another 3 for Clay.
If I take out one Splash Brother, right, and that would probably be Clay.
You're not gonna.
Well, Clayton has some missing nights.
Hey, Coach, I flipped it back on you. You talk about the league wanting to see 7, especially with a perennial team like the Celtics, that kind of fan base.
Right.
The league won't let you take out a Splash Brothers if they get to the finals. The league will not let that happen.
You know, I hate that.
Let that happen.
I hate my boy son won't be playing GP2, right? I hate he broke his elbow, in the Memphis series, so he's out. So, but the thing is, again, Boston goes 7 deep.
Okay.
Golden State goes 8 deep.
Okay.
So
that's
I'm just saying, I like the series. I like the series, but if Boston makes it to this final out the East, that series is going 7.
Okay. All right. Well, then that is Coach Tony's predictions.
Hey, that's for promotional purposes only, Val.
For promotional purposes only. That is his predictions. And so we have a game happening now, another game tomorrow, and then finals. We'll be in finals next week,
Thursday.
Right?
By at least next Thursday. We'll be in final by next Thursday because they'll finish the series. They'll give them a day or two in between the next series.
So next Tuesday we won't. It may not have started yet, but we should know the matchup. Hopefully we'll know the matchup by then.
We'll know what the matchup.
Dallas is up 20 right now, 70-50 with 9 to go in the third. So
All right. Well, as we put as we're putting it
Okay.
on the screen, Coach Tony's prediction for the
There you go.
NBA
There you go.
2022
Warriors and the Celtics.
finals.
I like it. I
I
like
like
it.
it. I like it. All right, Coach. We
Okay.
appreciate you. That's,
Hey, I'm just glad we got through this difficult night. Thank you, Springer. Thank
I
you, everybody.
know. I
Hey,
know.
man.
There it is. All right, and here we go. We'll talk to Coach. All right, here we
Peace.
go.
Peace.
All right. Now
Woo.
let me get to some business real quick. Let's see, I didn't say this earlier. We have an interlude. We have the Interludes YouTube channel, the Interludes Facebook group, and we're also on LinkedIn. We did not broadcast this particular one on LinkedIn. We will do that later on tonight at 11 p.m. And then also we are on the Pod TV Roku channel. Thank you so much, Mark Lee. He's always hooking us up with that. And then tomorrow it is time for it's Wamble time.
Hey, who's that?
What will you be talking about on tomorrow, Mr. Wamble?
Woo!
There's a lot to talk about.
There he
I,
is. There he
I
is.
thought I
There he
thought this
is.
was going to be short, but it wasn't.
No, yeah, you
We're
did say short, didn't we? We talked about some of those things. So I'll keep it nice and I'll keep it upbeat tomorrow. Let's say that.
all
So you
right.
want to find an upbeat place to to get some relief. We'll do that tomorrow. How about that?
Okay, great. So we gone ahead. We put the
Keep
link
it light.
of it'll be showing on our YouTube channel tomorrow at around 6 Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. That was hashtag Wamble Wednesdays.
We keep it light.
You
Yes.
gonna keep it light because we got
We're gonna
heavy
keep it
tonight.
light.
We got heavy tonight, so it
Did
is.
we ever? Yes.
I normally don't like for us to get heavy, but
But you gotta do it.
unfortunately,
You gotta do
gotta
it
do it.
sometime.
Gotta talk about it. I wanted to talk about some other stuff, but it you know what? It
For
is
another
okay
time.
for
For
a
another
definitely another time.
time.
Okay, I'm trying to get over to the other situation here.
Try.
So, um, so here we go. To never miss an episode of Talk on Tuesdays, and we're gonna do this next Tuesday in honor of Memorial Day holiday. We'll be back Tuesday, June 7th, live in the chat with Coach
Yeah.
Tony
Yeah. We'll
and
be
other
able to tell you
speakers.
about the finals.
We'll tell you
Will have
about the
started.
finals in June. We'll be back in June, and
Weeks ago.
also be premiering on next Tuesday a special episode celebrating our upcoming 2-year anniversary of Interlude. So it'll be like a best of for next week.
Woo!
I might be live in the chat. I might not. I don't know. I'm just gonna let you know that's for next week. But we'll be back all of our characters will be back next week chatting about no, we'll be back June 7th. That's what I'm talking about.
Live.
Live.
June
There you go.
7th.
Tuesday, June 7th.
We'll
And
be back.
also and I am looking for okay, there we go. If you'd like to be a sponsor on our platform, book time with us at linktr.ee/Pure Light Media and let us know that you like what you see, what you hear, and the like. And we're very excited that we're going into June.
June. Black
Uh,
Music Month.
Black
June.
Music Month
Summer.
will be June. So we will be talking about a lot of music that entire month on both platforms, the audio podcast as well as Talk on Tuesdays. What's your name? Mr. Wamble.
My name is not Val the Voice Johnson, but your name is. And this has been Interludes Extra Talk on Tuesday with Val the Voice Johnson.
We thank you guys for sticking in with us. We are still praying for the victims of what happened in Tuesday. I'm sorry, what happened in Texas. And be safe out there. Peace.